Oakland is dedicated to protecting the water quality of our bay. In the port area, storm drain inlets are not directed to water treatment and drain directly to sensitive water bodies. Runoff from urbanized areas like the port has contaminants washed from streets, businesses, and industrial areas and is the largest source of pollution in the San Francisco Bay. Because of this, the port prohibits anything other than pure stormwater runoff from entering the storm drains. In this video, I'll describe what we call in the stormwater business as illicit discharges. Essentially, illicit discharges means putting pollution into the storm drain system, and it is prohibited under the Clean Water Act. The port and port tenants are required to respond to illicit discharges and eliminate them from entering the storm drain system. I'll also go over how and when to respond to illicit discharges and how to report them. Illicit discharges are basically any material, liquid or solid, that is not pure stormwater runoff going down the drain. This includes dumping our spills of materials in the dry season and stormwater picking up contaminants on the ground, on the pavement, and washing them into the storm drain system during the wet season. There are a few exceptions for potable water type discharges, so please contact the environmental programs and planning if you have any questions. The easiest way to know if there's an illicit discharge to the storm drain system is when it's not raining and there is liquid or material going into the storm drain. You can observe that liquid that's going into the storm drain, and if it is cloudy or has an odor, it is not pure potable runoff and it's a violation of the Clean Water Act, and you should report it. However, there are some contaminants that are not visible, like chemicals or bacteria, so the best thing to do is observe the source, where it's coming from. Likely there's an activity that's contributing to pollutants to that discharge, and you should report it to us. Some common sources of illicit discharges are sanitary sewer overflows, which can carry bacteria and pathogens, hazardous materials, and machine spills from roadway accidents or mechanical errors, oil or fuel spills. You can look for staining on the pavement or the rainbow sheen in the stormwater runoff that we see, chemicals or hazardous material spills from improperly stored materials, vehicles or pressure wash waters that can contain soap and dirt, trash, and sediment and dirt, which can come from stockpiled materials, construction sites, and eroding areas. Many people don't think of dirt as a big deal to go down the drain, but it's actually one of the worst and most pervasive contaminants in the Bay Area. Also, you may see pollutants or spills on the ground that have not reached the storm drain. However, once rain starts, all those materials and pollutants are going to be washed into the storm drain, which constitutes an illicit discharge and is a violation. So the best thing that you can do is prevent that from actually happening. So for non-hazardous spills or non-hazardous materials, the best thing you can do is clean up that pollutant, block the storm drain so that the pollutant or spill doesn't reach the storm drain to constitute an illicit discharge, and then report that spill for cleanup before it reaches the wetlands or the storm drain. This will help to reduce the contamination to our water bodies and also make cleanup a lot easier. The port is required to respond to spills to our system, both hazardous and non-hazardous. Spills do occasionally occur, and as a responsible owner, the Port of Oakland has a full-time 24/7 response capability. If you see spills or discharges to the storm drain system, or see a spill in progress that might make it to the storm drain or wetlands, it's important that you alert your supervisor and the response team as soon as possible.
Desmond DeMoss, Port of Oakland Environmental Health and Safety Specialist and point of contact for hazardous spill releases at the Port of Oakland. When you contact the 24-hour call center, they will alert me to respond to those spills on port property. For hazardous spills, we rely typically on the responsible party to clean up, but sometimes we'll work with our internal port teams and emergency response cleanup contractors to stop the flow, clean up the spill materials, and dispose of the waste.
Hi, I'm Angela Clapp in Environmental Programs and Planning, and I'm the point of contact for Stormwater Program, non-hazardous illicit discharges. If you call the reported numbers that you saw before and it turns out to be non-hazardous, Desmond will notify me and I'll work with the tenants and responsible parties to clean up illicit discharges and assess how to prevent them from happening in the future. The Port is committed to keeping the environment, tenants, and the community healthy by responding to pollution and illicit discharges. Please help be our eyes and ears out in the field to help prevent illicit discharges from harming our bay. Thanks.